Great. Thank you so much, Ragda, and thank you so much, Sharif, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, I know that we are in the middle of the subscription period for you, so I promise that we will get to that a little bit later. But let's start off with the amazing ETF business that you built. Lunate has built a sizable ETF position. What does that tell us about the market and investor demand here in the GCC?
It's growing. We started off back in I think our first listing was back in July 2020. It was kind of hard to get anyone excited about investing in an ETFs. Hardly anyone knew about it. We had to go out and do a lot of education. We continue to have to do a lot of education, but 6 years forward, we're listing number 25. We'll have 25 listed ETFs. Not only that, we're also the first GCC issuer to list on Xetra in Germany. So we're the first to go out to Europe with thematic ETFs. We're the global leader today in Sharia ETFs. And really what we've seen is that whereas it started with a lot of institutional investors, retail has started to pick up. We've had tie-ups with platforms like Weo Bank, Weo Invest, that have encouraged recurring investments. So, setting up, going in and for individuals to go in and set up to make an investment on a monthly basis. So we are seeing a pickup. We're seeing volumes across all our ETFs anywhere between, on ADX, we have about 20, we'll have the 20th listed, anywhere between 15 and 20 of the ETFs, or 15 and 19 now, of the ETFs are trading on a daily basis. So definitely there has been a pickup. There has been more knowledge. People are starting to understand what ETFs are. We're still at the early stage, but definitely progressing.
And I want to come back and look, I've seen this journey, from the start, 5 years. You've really done an amazing job at building up this platform. You mentioned the thematic ETFs. I'd like to go into a bit more detail on the Sharia side.
Yeah.
Where have you seen the appetite for that coming from?
Yeah.
Institutions for retail?
Yeah.
And in practical terms, how does it actually work?
Well, the thematic one, so we do have both Sharia compliant ETFs and conventional. We have 5 conventional, what we call core equity, that basically give you exposure to markets around the world. We have Germany, Japan, etc. And then we have the thematic, which is AI power, luxury, and quantum. The Sharia is core equity and fixed income. So we also have a Sukuk, a global Sukuk ETF. Definitely there is interest in Sharia. There hasn't been anyone globally that's taken up the Sharia, the Sharia space, ETF space. We're currently
from an issuer perspective.
From an issuer perspective, but definitely there's a lot of interest from a buyer perspective and from a client perspective, both on the institutional as well as the retail side. Today with the new launch, we'll have 11 Sharia ETFs. We're the only non-domestic issuer of Sharia Saudi, Sharia India, and Sharia Turkey ETFs. And we lead in terms of the number of ETFs. So I said 11, next biggest is at 7. So definitely there is interest in Sharia. The Sharia forms a big part of that billion dirhams under management. And we see potential growth in that space.
And you did mention some numbers there. Obviously, you're coming close to adding another one to the list. Tell me more about the GCC Div ETF and what expectors can expect from that.
Well, this is another first of its kind in terms of it being GCC Sharia and Sharia compliant. And on top of that, it's focused on dividend yielding stocks. So the indicative yield, this is of course not taking into account what can happen in the future, but historically it's last year, so it's 6.2% yield for the ETF. We've built it with a German index provider called Selective. We've built it in a way that makes it very diversified across the 3 biggest markets, UAE, Saudi, and Qatar. As well as diversified across all different industries, And so in fact, there is no concentration of any one. And we've also built in, and the index provider has helped us to build in a momentum indicator, which basically takes into account the sustainability of these dividends. And so we're very excited about this product. Again, it's the first one that combines multiple markets, multiple GCC markets, the first of its kind in the world, listing here in ADX. And we have high hopes for the ETF.
And I know that ADX does too, so we're all in alignment there. Just maybe from a practical perspective though, what is the difference? We are in the subscription period for another, let's call it 6 days to a week. What are the practical differences between investing now and let's say the pre-IPO?
It's to give investors an opportunity to come in at the issue price. We've had a lot of ETFs that have taken off after listing because the markets have done well. ETFs are a reflection of the index that they track, so it's not actively managed or anything like that. But it is an opportunity to come in at the beginning and hopefully write it up. And that way, that 6.2 is more crystallized in terms of having a number to put your hat on, so to say. Whereas when you're buying it in the market, whether it goes up or down, that yield, of course, changes. So it's just an opportunity for investors to get in at the very beginning.
And where have you seen, and this is perhaps a broader question that I would like to finish on, but you do now have an international approach.
Yeah.
Grown in Abu Dhabi, you mentioned some of the global exchanges you're listed on. How have you seen the international audience appetite change towards Middle East and particularly Abu Dhabi ETFs? Well,
obviously we're a new entrant into the ETF market in Europe. So there is a bit, but what we've tried to do is the thematics that we've launched are also very unique. So for example, quantum, we're only one of 4 providers globally that offer a quantum ETF. We've seen liquidity, we've seen activity in the European on Xetra across our ETFs. I think it's early days. The first one we cross-listed there was towards the end of last year. Then most recently in January, I believe, we listed our third. So it's still early days, but we're very excited about the trading activity that we've actually seen, and we've seen involvement. We've been able to bring in some of the big name APs and market makers that are known globally onto our ETFs, and that's been a huge achievement, and I think bodes well for the growth and our continued growth of the ETFs.
100%. I wanted to thank you not only for your time coming on today, but I've seen how much really Lunate has driven the market in this space. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.